Good evening and welcome to today's live session for the subject Urban Governance and Development Management. Others have joined so far, so I'll wait some more time, see if anyone joins, and then I'll start the session.
Good evening, ma'am.
Look, I'm just waiting for others to join, and in a few minutes we'll start the session.
Okay.
I think we should start the session. It's already 5 minutes. So, welcome to week three. Welcome to the problem solving session for week three. This week we'll discuss questions related to whatever that has been covered in week three of lectures, which includes organization development, transparency, and accountability. Then two lectures on capacity building, and finally a lecture on systems and processes for urban governance. So, starting with the first question, which is the term SWOT refers to what? And you have several options, which include terms like strength, support, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats or trends or whatever. So, they are basically asking you what the full form of this term is or what this term actually means. So, there is a very easy trick to understand what SWOT means or what the different components of a SWOT is. So, you have to focus on two key dimensions. But one is whether what we're talking about it is a positive thing or a negative thing, and the second thing you have to focus on is whether whatever thing we are talking about, if it is internal to a system or it is something external which is acting upon a system. So, for example, strength is something which is positive, but also it is inherently internal to any system. So, here we have written X. So, for example, X can be a person, X can be a team, an organization, a body of an organization, anything. So, whenever we talk about a positive internal thing of that system, that can be referred to as a strength. When we talk about something positive, but that is not a part of the system, but externally it can have a positive effect on the system, that we can consider as an opportunity. So something that is positive, but it is an external thing acting upon a system, that can be understood as an opportunity. Similarly, when focusing on negative elements, negative a negative aspect which is a part of the particular thing or a system or an organization or anything which is internal, it is the weakness of the system. Or if it is external, so something which is negative which is acting upon or acting externally, which is having negative effect on a person or a system or how they function, that can be perceived as a threat. So if you want to further gain clarity on what a strength, weakness, opportunity, or threats are for a particular system or a thing or any activity, you can ask specific questions which can help you gain clarity. So, for example, to understand what a strength is, you can focus on what X is really good at, or what X does, or what X offers to people that others can't do or can't do as well. So, whenever you're talking about strength, these are the questions that you can focus on. Similarly, for weakness, you can ask questions like what are some things that X is not very good at that others do much better. So, this is something which is negative with respect to X, which X is not very good at. Probably X is very struggling with it, and it is an inherent quality or capacity or skill of X which X is not very good at. So that is something which is negative and internal to the person or the system. So that can be considered as a weakness. Similarly, to identify opportunities, you can ask the question that what are some areas where X could thrive in or could improve upon, but that X isn't currently taking an advantage of. So, something which is externally available and in which X can do better, but it's not currently doing well. So, that can be something which is external and which is positive for X, and that is the opportunity. Similarly, something external which is negative. So, what are some external factors like competitors' demand or economic condition that can make it more difficult for X to function or to succeed or to achieve what we are trying to achieve? Uh, so, what is something which is negative and which is affecting externally. So this is the question that you can ask while trying to identify a threat. So I hope it's quite clear what the question is asking about and what these different terms mean. Again, to understand this better, this is a kind of an exercise we do to get a better understanding of what SWOT analysis looks like and what are the things that you need to focus on while doing a SWOT analysis. So this is an example of if you consider hiring a summer intern for a particular organization. So in hiring a summer intern, there will be some strengths, some opportunities, some weaknesses, and some threats that that this kind of a hiring will have for the purposes of performing of functions of a particular organization. So Reena, you're the only person here, so I think you can provide some answers or some insights as to what strengths are there whenever we are trying to hire, or what are the positive internal aspects related to hiring of a summer intern for a particular organization. Would you like to answer?
Uh, Strength. What are the skills that she possesses that she's
Okay.
capable of, very good at?
So, so let's say skills of the intern. That will be a strength. Again, any other thing?
And
So
also,
again, you
like,
can see here when we are hiring the intern, if the intern is very skillful, that will be a positive and that will be strength. But again, if the intern that we are hiring, if they are not very skillful and they lack a lot of skills which are required for the job, then that again can be a weakness. So based on what kind of an intern you are hiring, it can either be a strength or a weakness. I hope that is understandable.
yeah.
What else were you saying?
No, like like the strength and weakness, like how she, like, is she a team builder, or like in
Okay, again, yes, that is again part of her skills or strength or
strength or weakness?
so that will be interpersonal skills or again technical skills. So skills can be both what technical knowledge the person has and then again interpersonal skills. So how well she can assimilate into the organization and things like
And
any other thing that that is a strength or it's a positive internal thing that can be uh, good for the organization.
like, is
Like,
she, like, if we provide a training or something, like, will she be able to, that could be an opportunity, like, can she be trained to a specific task or some?
okay, so maybe not now, but once she is trained enough, she presents an opportunity to be hired as a full-time employee. So maybe we can phrase it as transition to full-time employment. So once that is an opportunity for us, that once the intern is fully trained or trained well, they present an opportunity for us to have a full-time employee which is skillful and works well with the organization. Anything else that you would like to add?
No, ma'am, I
Anything
can't.
about a weakness that might be possible or a threat that might be possible?
Maybe as weakness, maybe like her. attitude or something like that, like towards work or to the firm, or like how does she responds to some kind of task.
Okay, so weakness, when we are saying, so it's not just objectively the attitude, but it has to be negative. So, for example, we can say that the intern is taking longer hours to finish the work. Okay, or another thing, it is very understandable that they are still learning.
Yeah.
So again, that is a weakness because that they are not up to date with what complete skills that they need or whatever they want. So again, that is a weakness. Maybe they are not very efficient, or you are having to invest a certain amount of resources and even human resource in order to train them. So you are spending time and resources for training the intern. Okay? That can be a weakness because it's a negative thing and it's internal to the organization. Again, the intern might have difficulty in assimilating. So if they have good interpersonal skills, it's their strength, so they'll assimilate very easily. Or if they don't have good interpersonal skills, they might find it difficult to assimilate into the system. So again, that will become a negative thing, and that can be a weakness. Again, whenever we talk of hiring an intern, one good thing which, or one very positive thing which we largely focus upon is that they are up on the latest technology. So that is again many a times a reason why we hire an intern, because people who are already in the system or already functioning in the organization, many a times they are not so into the learning process. So many a times they are not up to date or aware of the latest technology, which is a very good thing or a strength of an intern. So if we are hiring an intern, with them they bring knowledge or information about the latest technology. They are aware of how to use them and can help the organization get better regarding that. Another positive that might be is that the interns are very energetic. So the system or the work is new to them. So they find it more fulfilling as compared to an employee who has already been a part of that system. A lot of the times, the interns also seek to show their worth or how well they can do. There is a lot of, sometimes a lot of competition among maybe other interns or other kind of human resource that is available in the market. So again, they are very energetic, and that is again a positive related to hiring a summer intern. Maybe you can even say that because they are new to the system, they bring more creative input as compared to which is already there in the system. And again, another thing which a lot of the time people take into consideration while hiring an intern is that it's a cost effective. So you are hiring an intern to do a job of a full-time employee, which you often have to pay more. But when you hire an intern, you often have to pay them less compared to a full-time employee, because then you take into consideration that you have to spend resources and people in order to train them. So again, many times it's a cost-effective decision also if you're hiring him. So again, that can be another strength. Uh, Again, an opportunity about hiring an intern can be that the person that you're hiring and as an intern, they might be going to school somewhere, or might be affiliated to another kind of an organization. That is why they are working as a summer intern, their time off. So maybe you have an opportunity to connect with interns other affiliation. Many a times through these connections you can build networks, get resources through networking with uh, the interns organization or their affiliation. So again, connecting with their affiliation or organization is another opportunity for your organization. So this is another kind of an opportunity which might present itself when you are hiring a summer. Again, talking about threats, what is something which is external, so it's not inherent to your system, but externally it can affect when you hire a summer intern. So one very important threat which many people face several times is that the intern, after they get trained at your organization, they are not bound to join your organization as a full-time employee. So after using your resources and getting training from your infrastructure or your organization, they can join um a rival organization after being trained using your resources and your time. So again, this is something which can be perceived as a threat and can happen. Another thing which can happen is intentional inefficiency. So uh, it is not inherent to the organization, because organization is not trying to make the intern inefficient. So internal efficiency on the part of intern. So this is again something that can be perceived as a threat, because the intern is still not a part of the organization. But if they intentionally try to work inefficiently, make the work lag behind, so that can be perceived as a threat. Similarly, I also have another example of if we are trying to introduce e-governance of the trying to introduce e-governance for ULBs. We usually do this as discussion based exercise, but as it's only you here today, Rina, so I'll leave it for now. You can take your time, you can go ahead and work on the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats related to if we are trying to introduce e-governance in the body, what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats associated with it. Uh, but I
E-governance strength will be like accessibility for people, all, like other.
Okay, so
Is it
this is what you're talking about after the introduction of e-governance, or you can
okay?
say that it is an opportunity that because we are talking about uh, what is for the activity of introduction of e-governance. So if we introduce e-governance, we will save time and we will become more efficient. So
Okay.
you can say that time and efficiency, or we'll have more efficient systems and we'll be able to do things in less time. So this is an opportunity that we have once we introduce e-governance. So e-governance is still not a part of the system of the ULB. We are trying to make it a part of the system. So what opportunity we have if we make it a part of the system is time and efficiency. So we can call it as opportunity, but not still.
Okay.
Uh,
The introduction, like systematic filing of all the activities.
So
Will
again,
that
that
make
is again
sense?
related to efficiency, more efficient filing of the systems, more efficient disbursement, efficient communication, other things like that. So again, that is related to efficiency. Another thing which you can say is that transparency and accountability. So if you have all the things available on a digitized or an online platform, you can hold the people more accountable uh, based on sort of system where both people entering the information and people accessing the information can view the information at the same. So if we have a system of e-governance which is transparent and accountable, we have opportunities for making the governance process itself transparent and so again that is an opportunity. I'll give examples for strengths also. For example, if we already have existing infrastructure which can support introduction of e-governance. So, for example, if you already have computers or digital media sharing or digital communication infrastructure like computers, internet connection, or local area network connections, and other things like that. So, again, you already have something which is positive for your cause, which is introduction of e-governance, and which is internal to the organization. So it is the existing infrastructure of the organization. So that is again a strength. So we already have existing infrastructure, so we can easily introduce e-governance. So that you can call it as a strength. So again, another thing that maybe you already have leadership and organization in your leadership and organization in your ULB are trying to make it easier or are actually pushing towards introduction of e-governance in ULBs. Again, that is a strength because that is internal to the ULB, and again it is a positive thing and it can help expedite the process of introduction of e-governance. So So you already have leadership and organizational structure required for introduction of politics in the UL. Another thing which can either be positive or can be negative also is the support of the staff. So many, as you know, that even the elected representatives are also a part of the urban local body. So many a times there is either political will to implement such a thing, or sometimes there is resistance also. Again, for the staff also, because if you introduce new things or new kind of systems in an existing organization, many a times the staff is supportive also. Many a times they try to resist it also because they also have to deal with the new changes that are being introduced. So again, if their staff is supportive, it will be a strength because it is internal to the system and a positive things. Again, if there is resistance, it is internal resistance from the system itself and it is negative, so that we are weak. So this can be a weakness. Again, you might have low funds, so ULBs has assigned funds. So if you have low municipal funds, that can be a weakness uh, because if you don't have enough funds to introduce e-governance and implement it, that again is a weakness, which is an internal part of the system. Again, you might lack proper infrastructure. that is again can be a negative thing. So if you have the existing infrastructure, it's a positive thing, but if you lack it, it can be a negative thing. Again, lack of a policy mechanism or a policy that enforces such kind of adoption of e-governance. If it is not there, again that can be a the policy. If there are already policy frameworks existing which tells you what to do and how to introduce it, it can be a strength also. But if you lack if you lack such kind of e-governance policy, again it can be a weakness also. Talking about threats, so now we are talking about negative things which are not part of the organization but external things. So maybe externally you can get funds for implementation of this e-governance in the ULP, but if you don't have the funds, it can be negative. So you can say that uh, lack of external funds is a threat. Again, many a times implementation of these kinds of programs takes a long time. So if currently there is a ruling political party and in the next session the ruling political party it changes, the elected member who are part of the ULB, they will also change. So again, there might be some resistance from them, or they might take a lot of time to come on the same page with the decisions that the previous political party or the previous elected members made. So again, political instability can be a threat. This kind of implementation of e-governance in a youth. Again, possibility of hacking, that can be another threat which is external to the system because it's coming from an external source. It is a negative thing. Or maybe frequent power outages, that again can be a threat to maintaining things online or in a digital format, because pen and paper thing can still function if you don't have power, but e-governance can definitely not function if you are having frequent power outages. So these are again some examples of threat that you might face in the process of introducing e-governance for a UN. So I hope it is quite clear what SWOT is and figuring out strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat for any kind of a system or organization or a particular task that the system or the organization is facing. Okay. Coming on to our second question, which is the factors responsible for non-performance of employees in any organization are what? And you have several options: knowledge, skill, attitude, or environmental, motivational, and behavioral factors. Is it infrastructure, software, and equipment factors? Mental, motivational, and knowledge factors? What? So, coming back to what are the factors which helps or which dictate how employees in any organization perform, consist of three key things. First is the external environment, second is the organizational capacity, and third is the organizational motivation or the motivation that you get in an organizational setting. So focusing first on the external environment, so this includes things like what are the administrative and legal procedures of the organization, if there is any kind of political bearing on the functioning of the environment, functioning of the organization. So again, it is not a part of the organization, but some external political bearing that might affect the organization. Then what is the social or cultural norms of the external environment surrounding the organization that can again affect how the organization will function. What are the technological, say, what is the state of art of technology in the external environment of the organization, or which is available to the organization, that is again part of the external environment but deeply affects how the organization functions. Then again, what is the economic situation in the external environment of the organization? Again, what kind of stakeholders, maybe the clients, maybe people who provide some kind of resources to the organization, who are the stakeholders associated with the organization but not a part of the organization but part of external environment. Again, that also can affect how an organization function or how the employees of the organization function. Again, regarding the organization capacity, uh, if there is strategic leadership present or not, are the leaders playing their role well or not? Then what is the quality of the human resources, whether the people are skilled or not, whether they are motivated or not, whether they have good interpersonal skills or not, things like that. Then how the financial management is done, how the organizational processes are organized, how the program management is done, what are the infrastructure and resources available, and how they are distributed or made available or accessible to the people in the organization. What are different inter-institutional linkages, if people or employees in the organization need to collaborate or function in collaboration with other institutions, so what kind of inter-institutional linkages are there? Again, these kind of things are part of the organizational capacity and again affects how people in an organization or employees of the organization function. Then again, there is organizational motivation. So what is the history of the company, how it began, how it has functioned historically, how historically it has been known to treat its employees, things like that. Again, influences how motivated people are to work for an organization. If an organization doesn't have is known for treating its employees poorly earlier, or if it is known to treat its employees well, it's known to produce good work, do well, again, all these things contribute to the level of motivation the employees will have for working in. Again, the mission statement, what the company stands for or what the organization stands for, what it's working towards, what are their values, things like that, again add to the motivation of the employees working in the company. Again, the culture or the socio-cultural context, again it adds to the motivation of the employees. And finally, the incentives and rewards that the employees receive for good work or efficient or good performance. Again, that is another thing which influences the amount of motivation or the level of motivations that the employees have towards working for that organization. So, if you try to see in this way, these three factors, the external environment, you can consider this factor as the environmental factors, or what the environment surrounding the organization, how it impacts employees functioning, you can say call it as environmental. Again, how or what organization systems are there, what organizational capacity is there, and how it affects the organizational capacity affects the behavior of the employees. Again, you can call it as behavioral. And again, the level of motivations, even after having a certain capacity, still what is the level of motivation of the employees to work or not to work, or do good or not so well, again that is motivational. So these three aspects you can consider as environmental, motivational and behavioral aspects. So I think it is quite clear key aspects and how they affect employee performance in any organization. I also made this kind of a practice exercise so that you can understand what each element represents, or which part each element represents. So, for example, lacking knowledge of standards and procedures. So, for example, an employee lacks knowledge about standards and procedures. So, this can be a behavioral component, or because there is not enough organizational capacity so that the employee got at standards and procedures to be followed. So again, that is a behavioral aspect. Again, if there are shortage of office supplies, so it is environmental aspects, because, or maybe sometimes you can even say can be a part of educational system, but because we're talking about infrastructure or infrastructure availability, we can call it as an environmental aspect. Again, if the employee lacks skills to use computer and computer related equipment, again, fault on the part of the organizational system. They don't have enough training opportunities or capacity building opportunities, again, which can impact how the employees behave, again, part of the behavioral. Again, frequent natural calamities, it is part of the external environment, external physical environment. So it is example of environmental aspect. Then no promotions or no incentives to well performing employees. So both employees who are performing well and who are not performing well, they both are being treated the same, and there is no additional benefits or rewards for a well performing employee. So again, this becomes an issue of motivational aspects. Then is the lazy attitude of the employees. So this is again a behavioral thing because it is inherent to the employee's behavior only. So that means there is in some place there is a lack in the organizational capacity itself. So again, it becomes a behavioral issue. Then there is no job tenure security after the initial probation period. So after finishing the probation period, in which the organization has deemed that the employees or the particular employee is good at their job, still after that there is no job tenure security. So that becomes a motivational issue, because if you don't have any job security, the employees would not want to dedicate a lot of their time or their energy into the job, or into doing their job well. Then a frequent power cut, again, it becomes an environmental issue because it is external. Then, if there is a lack of skills to operate some certain software, again, it becomes a behavioral issue, as we talked earlier about lack of skills to use computer and computer related. Then political instability, again, is example of external environment, or how external environment impacts employees' performance. So I hope it is understandable how these three factors, or how what are these three factors and how they impact employees' performance. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So our third question is, what is the prime difference between a process and a system? So, then you have certain options like process is a continuous action, system is a set of rules, or system is continuous action and process is a set of rules, and things like that. So basically, we need to understand that a process refers to a series of interrelated and coordinated activities which you need to undertake to achieve a specific goal. So first of all, you need to know what your goal is, and second thing, that to achieve that goal, you need a certain set of tasks that you need to do, and they should be interrelated, and then they should be coordinated amongst each other in order to really call it a process. So it involves a sequence of steps or actions that are designed to produce a desired outcome. That is what a process is. On the other hand, a system is a set of interconnected components that work together to achieve a particular purpose. So it is not just a list of steps or list of interrelated things that you need to do, but also interconnected systems or interconnected components that you need this kind of infrastructure, you need this kind of human resource. The whole thing together working as a system is or working together is called a system. So it involves integration of various elements, not just the steps or interrelated steps, but other elements like, for example, the human resource or the infrastructure or other things that interact together and depend on each other for the function to effectively take place. So that is what a system is. So we can take another example in order to understand. So, for example, if you need a permit or an approval for a particular kind of the business, you'll have certain process or need to follow a certain process to get that permit, and again you need to interact with a certain system in order to get that permit. So a process will be the interconnected steps that you will need to follow, and system will be the particular entity or the organization or organizations that you need to interact with in order to get that approval. So, a process will include things like submitting of your application, then getting your documents verified from that submission, then undergoing inspections from inspectors if you need to get any kind of inspection of your particular business or business setup. Then maybe you need public consultation after that, and then you can review. Uh, then after public consultation about your business, the particular organization can go through review of your application and then approval. And after deciding on the approval, then they will communicate to you that yes, you have received that permit, and then after communicating to you, you can then get the issuance of that particular permit. So these are the certain steps or the certain process that is associated with seeking a business permit approval. Again, there needs to be a system in place which can help or which can help you achieve this particular function, or which can help you get the business permit approval. So the system that you need is first is a regulatory framework, so which will tell you that what are the laws you need to follow, what you can do, what you can't do, get that business approval, things like that. So for that you need a regulatory. Second, you need issuing departments. So, which are the departments which are part of that regulatory framework, which will tell you and enforce the laws or rules and regulations regarding the business permit approval. Then you'll need technology and infrastructure in order to then process your document, or then make communicate to you after making the decision, or if there is a physical copy or a digital copy. So give uh, the copy of your permit to you through those means. So for that you need certain kind of technology and infrastructure. Then you need data management. So you need a data management system which can maintain a record of what kind of business you are having, who are all the people to whom the permit has been given or approved, for what kind of period it has been approved, in which area, and a lot of things like that. So all data needs to be managed or stored and in a system which can be accessed as and when required. So for that you need a data management system. Then you need communication channels to first get the submission of the application, and then maybe for public consultation, and maybe finally for communication that your permit had been issued or maybe your permit has been declined. So for that you need communication channels as well. And finally, you need enforcement mechanisms also. So if you are saying that this business is not allowed, or this kind of business is not allowed, you need mechanism like police or other kind of enforcing organization which can say that if it is not allowed, you can't perform or conduct such kind of a business. So again, you need some kind of a system or mechanism for enforcing the regulations also. So this is the system that you need in place in order to get a business permit approval. Or kind of a business permit to function. So I think it is quite understandable that what is a process and what is a system. Okay. On to the next question, which is RTI, which is related to RTI. So the question is, in RTI Act of 2005, the term RTI is what? So I won't tell you the full form. You might know very well from lectures itself. I have linked the RTI Act document also. So if you want to go and read the document, you can just click through to this link and it will take you to the particular document and you can read the document at your own time. Meanwhile, I'll just tell you very briefly what an RTI is. So this particular act is an important piece of legislation in India that aims to promote transparency and accountability and also participatory governance in functioning of public authority. So it was enacted to introduce and to empower the citizens by granting them certain rights so that they can access information that is held by the public authorities. So before this, what used to happen, that how the public authorities function, what kind of function uh, the public authority is providing, what is not in its purview, what is in its purview, what the people can expect from them, what they can't expect from them. These kind of things people didn't know. So again, in order to make this kind of information more accessible to the citizens, so that they know their rights better, or they can better understand what to expect from a public authority, this regulation was enacted. So this law helps the citizens to obtain information about functioning of various government departments and agencies and institutions. So that is what an RTI is. So this question, I hope it's quite clear. Next question, which is, the officers designated by the government authorities to provide information on request from citizens under the RTI Act of 2005 is designated as what? So I'll just tell you, it is a public information officer or a PIO. So a public information officer is designated officer within a public authority who is responsible for receiving and responding to requests made through the RTI Act. So they have certain roles and responsibilities, which includes first receiving RTI applications. So if anyone applies to seek any kind of information from the organization, the first thing or the first role of the PIO is to receive the RTI application. Then the second job is to process those applications. Then after processing, providing certain kind of information which they are allowed to or they can provide. In many cases, they are not able to provide certain kinds of information. In that case, they also have to then they still need to communicate to the citizen that they are denying their request for information because of exemption uh, in certain categories. Then is the communication with the applicants. So communication regarding their application status or any information, again that is under the purview of the public information officer. Then again, maintaining records about any kind of information that a citizen has sought or that has been provided to a citizen from that particular organization. So that maintaining of records for any such communication is also responsibility of the public information officer. Finally, assisting with the appeals if the applicant is not satisfied with the response provided. Again, assistance regarding that is also a duty of the public information officer. So I hope this is clear as well. Moving on to the next question, which is choose the option which does not come under the domain of training. You have several options: self-learning, lecture, group discussion, and field visit. So whenever we talk about training, training refers to the process of acquiring knowledge or maybe the knowledge or skills or competencies through a structured and systematic instruction. So you have to focus on two things. First, that it has to be structured and systematic, and second thing, it has to be instruction. So it's not the learner is learning themselves, but they are being instructed by another person or another organization or another entity. So it involves a planned and organized approach, and it also includes teaching to individuals or maybe to groups regarding certain specific information or techniques to enhance the understanding and abilities and performance of the learner in a particular area. So I have given some examples like workshops, observational learning, structured learning, personal reflection, informal discussion, internship, simulation training, reading books, instructed courses, exploratory research, and mentoring. If you could tell me which among these examples are not examples of training. I see Pooja and Reena. Can you tell me which among these are not examples of training and which are examples of training?
But ma'am, the ones you have shown,
Yes, the workshop, observational learning, structured learning, all among all these, what what of these do not come under the domain of training?
internship, no, sorry, exploratory research,
Why?
because during the training time we don't get that time to do that research, exploratory research.
Yes. Exploratory research is something that a person does on their own, and many times it's not very structured. It can be structured also, but many times it's not structured also because they're still trying to explore which how many directions are there and what you can do. So again, exploratory research is something which is not example of training. Anything
Then
else?
observational learning,
Yes, observational learning is again something which the person is observing on their own and trying to learn from that. No one else is instructing them, no one else is telling them what to see, what not to see. So again, observational learning is example of it's not an example of training. Anything else?
then personal reflection,
Yes, again, personal reflection is something which you are doing on your own. So again, not an example of training. What do you say about informal discussion?
informal. During the training time, we don't have that. Yeah, that is also we self-initiated. So I don't
No,
know. We,
it is not self stated. You are having a discussion with someone and someone is instructing you, but again, it is not structured and systematic. Being an informal discussion, it won't have a structure. So, again, although it is an instruction from someone else, you will receive instruction from someone else during that discussion, but again, because it is not structured and it is not systematic, it cannot be called training. So I think you have gotten the gist of what can and what cannot be training. So observational learning, personal reflection, informal discussion, reading books on your own, and doing exploratory research, these are not examples of training. Incidentally, things like workshops, doing a structured learning, doing an internship, doing a simulation training, attending instructed courses, and going through a mentoring session, these are kind of examples of training. Um, Pooja, you are asking that exam registration, for exam registration, it's showing only Tamil Nadu cities, not any other state cities. So, while registering or while applying for this course, have in your what can you say where your organization or your affiliation is located, have you mentioned that it is located in Tamil Nadu? It is possible that in your personal details you might have mentioned that where you are located that is in Tamil Nadu. Because of that, it is showing only Tamil Nadu cities. So maybe you can check that whether you have filled that or if there are any other options. Again, if that is not the case and still you are not able to resolve the problem, I think it is best for you to write the NPTEL organization team only. So I am just a course instructor, or I am just a teaching assistant for this course. I am not involved in the management or conduct of the exams. So if you have any issues with that, write directly to IIT Madras, who is coordinating and organizing these kind of things. So you can write directly to them and ask them how you can get options for examination settings. If that is okay, we'll come back to our questions. So the next question for today is, what are the steps for systematic approach for training or SAT? So you have several options. First motivation comes, or first identifying needs comes, or first assessment comes, or first environmental change comes. So although you can't say it is a set of steps because it is a cyclic process, but again you can say that it begins at one process and then it keeps undergoing. So it begins first from identification of training needs. So order to conduct any kind of training, we first need to assess whatever the current skills and performance gaps are there in order to understand what requirement of the training is there. So that is the first step, which is identifying training. The second step, which comes, is assessing the results. Which is planning and designing the training. So after you have identified what are the requirements are there, the second step which comes is to develop clear objectives, content and method and resources that you need to in order to conduct the training, and then using that you define the objectives of what is to be done and you design how you will train the people. So that is the second step, which is planning and designing the training. Then comes the third step, which is to implement the training. So after planning and designing, you then deliver the training, maybe through lectures or maybe through workshop or simulation or other kind of digital media, or you can even conduct hands-on exercises. So in these different kinds of methods, you then implement the training program. After implementing the training program, then you again assess the result of the training program, whether the people who attended, did they get trained well, did they learn any skills, what is the level of their knowledge after attending this kind of training program. So then you evaluate the learner's performance, their knowledge retention, and the amount of application of the particular skill that they can do after going through the training program. So after assessing this, again you can identify more training gaps or need which is there. So if still the learner didn't learn enough or they are not able to retain what they learned, again there can be some gap, and based on that again you can identify needs, redesign the training program and re-implement, and then again assess the results. So I hope it is quite clear what are the systematic steps for this systematic approach for training. Uh, this is the last question for today, which is for enumerating the requirement of training and capacity building in any organization, TNA is conducted, and what TNA is. I won't tell you the full form, but I'll show you this figure. This is what this question is talking about. So TNA is a process in which you identify what need for training is there. So for this, first you do an organizational analysis in which you see overall goals of the organization, overall strategies, and what structures are there in the organization where reform is needed. Second thing you do is job analysis. So you see what kind of job and roles are there in the organization, what are the responsibilities of different jobs and roles, what is the level of competency each of these roles require, and what kind of training each of these jobs, roles, and responsibilities will need, and how you can align the training with specific roles. And finally, you do the task analysis. So it breaks down to the job particular tasks. So in order to fulfill or complete these particular tasks, or these particular steps, uh, pinpointing the skill gaps which are there, and for that what kind of training uh, you need to provide for that organization. So I hope it is clear. This was last example question for today. Thank you for attending today's session. If you have any other doubts, any other queries, please go ahead and ask.
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, I posted a message like when you explain each and everything. We in each question there were samples like we need to identify for the exams also. Will there be questions like that, or like we need to identify or with the examples from the exam point of view?
uh, I am not telling you from exam point of view what questions will be there. These are some practice questions, or I
Okay.
am just trying to explain to you better what the concept is. The questions that you get in the quizzes, you can maybe consider those as practice questions. But if you want additional practice questions, which can get you a better idea of what kind of questions you will have in the exam, you can ask in the forum. So
Okay.
this whatever I am discussing, it is related to what weekly quizzes you have and the material
Okay.
that you need to understand in the weekly quizzes. So
Okay.
I am not saying that these are the kind of questions that you will get in the exams. You might get, you might not get, but I am just trying to explain the study material better. So this is
Yeah.
only for your understanding.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Actually, I understood. So I was just saying, like, we need to prepare more in that way or not. That's why I asked.
No, you just need to focus on your weekly lectures and your weekly quiz questions. That is the key thing that you need to focus on. I'm just
Okay.
providing additional information and additional practice questions so that you can understand better. That is all.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
So I'll be here for a while because our sessions are from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So I'll be here for a while, and if you have any doubts, you can ask.
It's all clear. Can I leave now? Or
Yeah, yeah, sure. If you don't have any doubts, you
okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Pooja, do you have any doubts?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, actually, ma'am, during registration for exam, I'm thinking कि there's only the cities in Tamil Nadu for the city exam centers. Is it true?
Is what true?
Actually, ma'am, so for cities list na for examination,
Yes.
so it's showing only the Tamil Nadu state.
Uh, I think I answered previously also. There might be an issue with what
Yeah, actually,
organization that you have written in your profile.
yes, ma'am, I'm not getting the answer. That is the thing.
So, in your profile, in what organization you are affiliated to right now? Are you a student somewhere, or you are a faculty,
Ma'am,
or
I'm the student of urban planning and I'm from SBB Indore, Vaishnav Institute.
okay? So, have you written that in your profile?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so there can be some other issue probably. So you can write to IIT Madras or IIT Madras or NPTEL emails from where you get. So you might be receiving emails to your account regarding this course and these
Okay.
problem solving session. So to that email ID itself, you can write to them because they are in charge of organizing the exams and everything, and you can write to
Okay, ma'am.
them only and verify whether only exam centers are available in Tamil Nadu or other centers are available as well.
Okay, ma'am. And to IIT Chennai, right? Ma'am, address.
What?
IIT Madras, you are asking na to write mail.
Yes, IIT Madras is the nodal institute who is handling NPTEL
Okay,
courses
ma'am.
and sessions, so that is why.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.